Good morning, good morning, good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome and good morning. Welcome to another Good Morning Grief devotional. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. So happy and excited to have this time and this opportunity to come to you on this morning, this Tuesday, June the 13th, 2023, to have the opportunity to lead you into another grief devotional. This is the daily grief devotional that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. That's right. Grief, my brothers and sisters, you got to know and understand that it is the natural and normal response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how it is expressed on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. And that's why we say good morning, because morning is a good thing. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us on today as we dare to prepare to dive into yet another grief devotion. This is good today, y'all. And today is day 164. I'm so glad you came back for some more, and we are ready to dive in on today. Today's grief quote comes from Lemony Snicket, who says, "It is a curious thing, the death of a loved one. We all know that our time in the world is limited, and that eventually all of us will end up underneath some sheet, never to wake up. And yet it is always a surprise when it happens to someone we know. It is like walking up the stairs to your bedroom in the dark, thinking there is one more stair than there is. Your foot falls down through the air, and there is a sickly moment of dark surprise as you try and readjust the way you thought of things. You try to readjust the way you thought of things. Y'all, today is day 164. We're going to talk about it takes time to readjust. It takes time to readjust. It's true. It's true, y'all. It's true that the death of our loved ones caught us off guard. It's true that their death caught us off guard. And this is what you got to know and understand. And I started to say I'm not going to go that route. Um, I started to say, or to even ask, like, how did your loved ones transition, right? And I'm not going to ask that question, but I think a lot of us begin to know and understand that the death of our loved ones caught us off. They caught us off guard. They catch us off guard. Even if we're anticipating, even if we know it's impending, even if we know it's coming, even if the writing is on the wall. Hold on one second. Thank you. I had to pause for station identification. I appreciate y'all being patient with me. We're saying it's true that the death of our loved ones caught us off guard. No matter, a lot of times, it's untimely. We didn't plan it. We didn't anticipate it. It happens. It's out the blue. But even in times or moments when the writing is on the wall, or we understand, that they are dying, the finality of it all, it can still just throw us and catch us totally off guard. And so the reality is, y'all, it's true. The death of our loved ones caught us off guard. Even if we've been expecting the death for a while, the actual death was still a dark surprise. Not yet. Not now. Stop. We're never ready We are never ready. No matter how much you prepare, no matter how much you see it coming, no matter how much you wrap your mind around the idea or you know that it's impending and it's going to happen, y'all, we are never ready because we've never experienced or have known life without this loved one. And so when it's final and when it comes and when it happens, right? It's still a surprise. It's still a shock. It still leaves us feeling some type of way. The shock comes from the finality. Death is a line that once crossed can't be uncrossed. There's no going back. We're not able to grasp that. Not really until it happens. This is what you got to know and understand, y'all. It takes time and hard work. It takes time and hard work to readjust after the sickly moment of surprise. I want to encourage you because I want to let you know it takes time and it takes hard work to readjust. That's why we always say mourning, you got to mourn meaningfully. Mourning requires action. That the grief journey is so important that it's not linear. There's not no one, two, three. There's not no you do this step, then you do that step, and you'll all better. No, it takes time. When it comes to grief, it takes time. It takes time to readjust. It takes time to readjust life after your life has been interwoven with somebody else's life for a period of time. And when that person is snatched away from you, right? Now you are trying to pick up the pieces and readjust to a new normal. And I want you to understand that it takes time. Give yourself some grace because it takes time. It takes time mentally and emotionally and spiritually and cognitively. It takes time financially. It takes time in every area of your life to readjust. So I want you to give yourself some grace, right? It's not that anything is wrong with you. You're just going through the process. You're just navigating through the process. You're navigating through a new normal. And you got to know and you got to understand that it takes time. It takes time to readjust. There's no time limit. Don't put a time limit on your stuff, right? Because you don't know. You don't know how long it's gonna take. You don't know how you're gonna respond. You don't know what you're gonna need. You don't know how it's gonna be after the first month or the first year, right? And just when you think, oh, okay, I'm over the hump. Now, here comes something else because grief is a journey and grief is a process and it takes time to readjust. It takes time to readjust when you're going from married to be a single. It takes time to readjust when you go from you got three kids, now you only got two kids, right? It takes time to readjust. When you have both parents, now you only got one parent. It takes time to readjust to life and to living and to understanding and getting your footing and developing your rhythm and trying to develop some normalcy. Y'all, it takes time, right? You got to give yourself some grace because it takes time. It takes time and hard work to readjust after the sickly moment of surprise. Here's the final thought. Feeling shock and surprise after someone dies is normal, right? Feeling shock and surprise after someone dies is normal. It will take time and hard work to readjust. It will take time and hard work to readjust. I want to end it like this. What are some of the things? No, any questions or comments first of all? Questions, comments first of all, but also you can share. What are some of the things? Um, what are some of the things that maybe you struggled when it comes to readjusting? When it dealt with your with the loss, change, and transition that you've experienced, what are perhaps some of the things that you had to deal with, or that you may have struggled with when it came to readjusting? Anybody, if you want to share, if you want to drop it in the chat, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. But I thought I'd open it up. What are some of the things that you kind of struggled with when it came to readjusting? What are some of the things that you struggled with when it came to readjusting after the transition of your loved one? What was one of the areas? What were one of the things that you dealt with? What were one of the things that you are probably still dealing with? that you're struggling through. Yes, somebody said living alone. Absolutely. Absolutely. You start talking about, when you start talking about grief, you talk about there's this thing called secondary losses. The primary loss is the loss of the individual, but sometimes the secondary loss are the things that came along with the individual. And so you said living alone, and sometimes, you just don't lose a spouse or a parent or whatever. You lose your security. Like, I felt safe, I felt secure, right? And so it's like, man, living alone, that's a readjustment. I'm used to noise in the house. There's no noise. I'm used to somebody else being here, just their presence. The presence is so important. And I don't have that presence. So it takes some readjusting. You might have found yourself calling their name and then remembering, wait a minute, they not here, right? Or you might have found yourself making food for two, like you usually do, and like, dang, I don't have to make that much food anymore. It's just me. Or you make decisions. When you make decisions that involved other people, now that that person is gone, you're readjusting to living alone. You know, you make those decisions, and not just those decisions alone, but now you may have to take on more responsibilities, because when it was both of us, maybe they took out the trash, I didn't have to. They cut the grass and I didn't have to. Or they took care of X, Y, and Z, but now that they're gone, I have to take care of A, B, C, as well as X, Y, and Z. And so this is a big adjustment, right? Most times duties are divided up, but when you find yourself by yourself, you're taking on everything. So there is no division. There is no, you do this and I do this and we balance things out. It's everything is on me. And that can be overwhelming. Thank you for sharing, Facebook user. Miss Donna Smith said routines and patterns that suddenly stopped. Yes. Yes, I know you mentioned he would always come over to the house, right? So those routines and patterns that suddenly stopped, whether they called you at a certain time every single day, or they came over on a certain day every single week, they would come over at this time, or just those routines and patterns, right? Calling before you go to bed, or whatever the case may be, going out to eat, those things, certain stuff. It takes time to readjust to that. Yvette Williams not being able to talk to mom every day and just popping up on her. Yes, talking to them every single day. There are people that transition that we talk to every single day, right? Every single day. And when that happens, it takes some readjusting. Like you said, being able to just pop up. I can just pop up, right? When they transition, there's no more pop ups, right? And so readjusting to that, readjusting to that. Nikisha, adjusting to the fact that they were no longer there to reach out to for advice, support, and comfort. Yes, and once again, that's those secondary losses. Not only did you lose your mother, but I lost my advice giver, my support system, and my comfort. Right? That's your go-to to get those things. And so trying to readjust to that when I need advice, when I need support, when I need comfort, right? The source, the very person that's been the source of that for the course of the last whatever 40, some years, is no longer gone, right? You've been doing this for 40 years. It takes time to readjust after that. You've built up trust, you build up a rapport, you could be vulnerable. You didn't have to worry. You knew the secret was safe with them. But like when that's snatched away from you, what you can't build with somebody else in 1 year what it took you 40 years to build with that individual. And so it takes some readjusting, right? It takes some readjusting. Trina Kelly, readjustment challenges, annual memories, empty space. Yes, those annual memories. Some grief is seasonal. Those annual memories, different seasons bring about different memories. Different seasons bring about different memories. An empty space. Yes, absolutely. And it takes time to readjust to all of that. Deshauna Thomas, the first holiday without them. Yes, that first, it's always the year of first. Definitely the first holiday, but navigating through all the first year without them, because this is your first time experiencing all of these moments or holidays without them. And so the first Thanksgiving and the first Christmas and the first birthday and the first cookout, right? I remember the first cookout after my father passed. I think it was Memorial Day, and um, we that's what we did. We cooked out all the time, but it was a reality that that red truck was not pulling up. The red truck wasn't pulling up this year. It wasn't pulling up no more, right? And so navigating through all of that can be hard. Nikisha said, missing my cooking partner, sharing recipes. Yep. Yep. Readjusting the absence of our evening calls. Hey, Miss Diana Hatcher. Yep. Those evening calls, right? And when you're used to that, when you're so close to a person that you have this point of contact every single day and you no longer have it, man, it can leave a hole in your soul, right? Because this was my routine. This was my normal. This is what I was accustomed to. Phyllis Hunter said, I have lost three close people in my life. It all started February, and I lost my sister. Then in April, my best prayer partner and cousin. And just last week, another close cousin. These are the people that we are always talked about God, life, and it's already been hard to try to adjust to all of this. Yes. And that's why I'm so glad, because readjusting takes time. It takes time to readjust. It's not something that you do instantly. It's not something that you do instantaneously, right? It's something that happens eventually. It takes time to readjust. When you have close people, you said prayer partner and sister and cousin, people that you always talk to and go to, and then that's compounded. Yours is compounded. You got three people, right? Because sometimes you spread that out amongst a group of people, but when you lose the group, right? When you lose the group and are no longer able to tap into the group for those various things, it's compounded, and it can be very difficult and take a lot of time to readjust. Marla Talley, flying road trips, simply going on vacation. My travel partner is gone. I just got back from New Orleans, and it was such a disappointment. It would have been so much better if he were here. Yes. Going on those trips, because you create those memories. You create those memories, those times of shared time traveling together, those opportunities, those inside jokes. And it ain't just the same. It don't sparkle the same. It don't shine the same. It ain't the same. You find yourself reminiscing when you do go on those trips, right? Sharing the neck pillow on the plane, or whatever the case may be. And so all of that, it takes time to readjust. It takes time to readjust. And all of that is part of the process. I want y'all to know that's part of the process. Good listener. Somebody texted and said, my marriage, as my aunt was such a good listener. Yep, for both of us. Yeah. Somebody that listens to you, right? It takes time, y'all. It takes time to readjust. And so just know, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace in this space, and just know that it takes time to readjust. It takes time to readjust, and that's okay, right? That's all part of the grief journey. It's natural, it's normal, it's all a part of the journey. And that's why you got to continue to mourn meaningfully, so that on this journey, you can find yourself having the opportunity to readjust as you navigate through your grief journey. So, thank y'all for sharing. This was so good. I appreciate definitely opportunities for y'all to get involved and to share in the chat. So, thank y'all so very much. I hope this was a blessing to you. I hope it added value to you in some type of way. I want to tell you to stay in the fight. Keep on, stay in the fight, hang in there. We are gonna make it. We gonna make it through. Amen. Small steps lead to great distances. And so, thank you for allowing me to lead you today in this grief devotional. Hope and pray you have a terrific Tuesday. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Come on, let's go.
Uh, uh, Good morning. Good morning.